Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screamers for Scripture. My name is Brandon.
And my name is Michael, and today we got the pleasure.
We have Ryan from Diamonds to Dust. There, I believe he said it. Guitar 2 was the term that he would like for describing him and his role in the band. It was a phenomenal conversation. We got to talk about their upcoming album.
Super excited for that. Coming out December 19th. So it's going to be a pretty Merry Christmas for us, I'd say. But what was the name of that album?
That would be Echoes of Grace and Strife. It looks like it's going to be an absolute monster of a deathcore LP. I kind of committed too hard to that. A monster of a deathcore LP. Bunch of features, crazy symphonic deathcore madness. We are incredibly stoked to hear it. And if you want a little bit of the insight of what's going to be on that album, keep listening to Ryan. Hello, everybody. Today we have with us Ryan, Guitar 2 from Diamonds to Dust. How you doing, bro?
I'm really excited. How about you?
I'm stoked, dude. December 19th?
December 19th.
We got a new album coming out from you guys?
That is correct.
The second deathcore album from Diamonds to Dust, a subgenre I feel is woefully underfed for Christians and Christian bands. Would you agree?
Oh, without a doubt. And my parents are living proof. But I think at this point they've learned how to live with it. You know what? I can say the same thing. My mom goes, "How do you listen to that music? It's so angry." And I'm like, no. That's kind of the point.
That's the point. It's angry music for happy people.
August Burns Red reference.
Yes. Okay. It's very most least obvious August Burns Red reference. So we already have a few singles out for people to listen to. What? Hold on. Let me reset. Last year, what was it? Temporary Affliction dropped. Some of those songs are on that upcoming LP.
Correct. Right? It was in order. It was Child of the King, You Will Suffer, and Temporary Affliction, and How Could I Forget? This one goes back to 5 years ago, Dissonant Truth. We just decided just to throw it in there for extra streams.
Okay, so that was an older track being thrown onto a newer EP. Okay, beautiful. And is that kind of what we should be looking forward to? Use as a reference for what we're going to be hearing.
You called it the second deathcore record, so yes, it'll be Amidst the Hallowed and the Vanquished Part 2, like informally. But for this record, we've experimented with other subgenres such as like beatdown hardcore. We experiment with nu metal and gent. So you could say it's somewhat a bit more polished than Amidst the Hallowed and the Vanquished, which in my book is arguably the greatest thing to ever happen to Diamonds to Dust, besides Corpus Christi.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just ruin a completely good unbroken take. Mike, don't let me speak for you, but beatdown is his favorite deathcore subgenre.
Absolutely. Wearing my cultist hoodie. Nice.
There you go.
But yeah, that makes me super excited. We were supposed to play with them. Well, they were supposed to be the headlining act for this festival called Sunday Bloody Sunday over in Michigan back in August. But it was them, and I'm not sure if I'm saying the band name right, Reminiscence. But I think they were doing a tour together. That fell through, so we were the ones that ended up headlining that festival. So it would have been nice to say hi to Cultist.
Yeah. Still, that's awesome, though.
Yeah, holy cow. We need more live versions of that.
What do you mean?
Because live Christian deathcore specifically, because metalcore, I feel like I'm currently the video that I'm working on, which if this drops first will be a spoiler, currently the next video we have coming out is top 10 Christian metalcore bands. It's a very popular
Gotcha.
genre right now. And one thing people may notice is one of the first video that we did on this channel that was not a podcast is called 5 Great Christian Deathcore Bands. I didn't want to say top 5 because I didn't want people to think I was pitting them against each other. You guys made the list easily. And and so that video all of a sudden blew up. It got 20,000 views. For this channel, it blew up. And so I was like, well, let's do top 10 metalcore because that's another popular genre. People want to get some bands from that. But I came up with a list. Maybe I can find it really super quick. Of Christian metalcore bands. And there is I like the video would have been an hour long if some of them are crossed out because they're in the video, so I got to uncross them out and not spoil anything. But they the list doesn't end. But for Christian deathcore, there's like dozens. There's hundreds of these bands, and then dozens of Christian deathcore. I feel like it just does not get enough recognition. So I love metalcore. I'm not like hating on any of the
favorite metal subgenres being death metal and black metal, and power metal too. But I'm a little concerned about the Christian power metal scene because we are seeing a bunch of like saturated AI Christian power metal bands, which I think in terms of the message, it's great, but it could be like damaging to the subgenre. And I love power metal.
Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of those, and I'm not happy when I see an AI band personally because I feel like it's not, I'm not going to hate on anybody if they just are trying to have fun, but if they're posting it like it's their hard work, that's a little disingenuous. That's pretty disingenuous. But what's even worse is when people like lie about it. I've seen people are like, this is my band. I worked hard. This has been in the chamber for years. And they just like generated it like 5 minutes before. That breaks my heart.
Yeah. Big punch in the gut.
Absolutely. I actually didn't even know that was happening, so that's a shame.
I think Kingdom Core called them out on it, but there was like a whole bunch list on it, but yeah.
Thank you, Kingdom Core. Okay, I can't uncross them out, so it'll be a minor video spoiler. But like this list, this was off the top of my head. I didn't even look anything up, and it goes on, and I was like, this isn't 10. This is like 30. Yeah. So this video is gonna be forever. Anyway, that's completely off topic. It's just, I get really happy when any Christian release, any faith-based release, comes out, whether it's straight worship or just like God honoring lyrics. But when we get like super overt, super hard, super, I'm excited. I'm excited for, the new stuff you guys got, cooking up. Or so the long-winded version of that. So if you don't mind me asking, when did you because I tried to research the history of Diamonds to Dust, but I forget a lot. So when did you get in the rotation of the band?
You know what's funny? I'm happy you asked. Unofficially, Diamonds to Dust and I go way back 7 years from now. On Facebook, Barry posted for some reason it hit my feed on Facebook. He posted a video ad saying that Diamonds to Dust are looking for band members, and this was a year after our 4th album, Conservation of the Spirit, came out. He was looking for guitarists, he was looking for bassists and vocalists, and he made it clear that they are a Christian band, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You may or may not find that video somewhere in the depths of our Facebook archives. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send these guys a message, see what they're all about. And I checked out their music. I'm thinking, it's average at best. And a few years later, March of 22, they play at one of my local bars because our headlining act was a local band called Ocean of Illusions. They're still making music, but So Diamonds of Dust were on that bill. And I'm like, oh, it's that band I saw Barry make a video of. So I'm over in the back having a gyro and a Yingling, and I hear like they've got some songs in like low tunings, and I hear Christian was in the band at the time, so like, all right, they've got a good vocalist, like they've definitely like started to keep up with the times in terms of like metalcore and deathcore. At the time they were slowly like leaning more deathcore and death metal, and I'm like, all right, these guys have improved. And then a year later, coming 23, I see that they're headlining a like local metal festivals at this ice arena over in Brewster, kind of where New York meets Connecticut, and they do it again in the at an all day rager. Oh, I went to that one, the latter one, because I was filling in for another band. Diamonds of Dust were the headlining act. Rumor had got out that they were going on tour soon. And it's always been my dream to go on tour. So like, all right, maybe since these guys believe what I believe in, I'll check it out, see if I can offer my services. But when they took the stage, they had the whole pack. They had the vocals, they had the sound, the mix, and the light show. Mind blowing. So when they played their song "Survivor's Torment," which is arguably my favorite song off the set list, which we played all throughout last year. I told Christian and Barry at the merch table after their set, like, hey, keep on spreading the light, like we need it more than ever. And around that time, I was slowly like walking out of my lukewarm days, because that's pretty much where I was at when I saw them play at that bar with Ocean of Illusions. So a month later after that happened, I was just at a point where I was just miserable and hoping like I would get a lead on something like to go on tour and make my dreams come true. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this group called Pyrexia.
I'm not.
I've heard that name before, but I'm not very familiar with.
They're an iconic 90s New York death metal band. So the live / fill-in vocalist at the time, Zachary Kratz, he posted an ad on his Instagram story saying Pyrexia is looking for a second guitarist. I'm like, wow, I'm going to go ahead and hit those DMs, see what the details are. But then like a slight like slap of conviction hit me saying like, if you get it's very unlikely, but if you do get the job at Pyrexia, you are going to be playing songs like Sermon of Mockery, Apostles to the Grave, and eventually you're going to have to go before the Lord and make an account of that. So I could either do that while playing for one of the biggest death metal bands in New York and around the time that 90s death metal was coming about, like Internal Bleeding, Suffocation, or I could hit up Barry and see if they're looking for a second guitarist, because around that time they had an old promo where it was a 5-piece, but when I saw them like kill the stage, they were only playing as a 4-piece. So I'm like, hey, Barry, out of curiosity, do you guys have a second guitarist, right? I could have sworn your band picture had 5. I'm like, no, we just have Brandon on guitar. I'm like, oh, snap. Well, not for nothing, but if you are looking for a second guitarist, I'd be happy to offer my services. Barry says like, all right, I'll get back to you on that. A few weeks later, he was like, yeah, thanks, but no. And then a month later, I'm like, actually, on second thought, what kind of amp do you got? And that's how I got started. I started off as a touring member. And then about 6 months in, I got the offer. I said, put me down as a yes, but I'm going to pray about it. And I said, boys, I accept the offer.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That's like, I had no idea that there was like a whole testimony behind that. I was just asking because out of genuine curiosity. I thought you were going to be like, oh, X years ago.
So I guess I can wait to share my
really.
testimony, even though I've been born again for 22 years, for a later time. But yeah, I had around that time, like when I was stepping out of my lukewarm era, where my testimony was already like being written. It was either Pyrexia or Diamonds to Dust.
No, that's awesome that you made that. You made the choice, even if maybe like if either was a guaranteed yes, one might have led to more exposure. You still chose the more, yeah. Well, that's really respectable.
God-centered choice.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
At this point, I
Can't-
wouldn't have it any other way.
can't speak. Yeah, you've been liking it.
So far, it's pretty good. Most of the time, I don't really have a say in much. Like, I just sit down, shut up, and play and write when I need to. If I have to draft up a lead or a solo on command, then shoot, I'll do it. But I have the liberties of being able to write for the band. But it can go under scrutiny. That way, it meets the sound that we're aiming for. That way, it sounds like DTD.
Sure, and I think that's what makes the best sound in the end. What songs have you been like creatively involved in so far
In the upcoming
in your
album?
time? I mean, yeah, it just in general.
I wrote Deny
if there's any-
Thyself. I wrote I was able to help Barry create the epic guitar solo in Bond Servant about 20 or 30 seconds in. And I do the second solo in A Light Beyond the Ruins.
Okay, awesome.
So not really, not as much contribution musically besides Brandon and Barry.
Okay, I gotcha. But you've gotten to tour around. You've gotten to tour around with DTD. Was it just the one time, or have you done it a handful of times now?
Twice. The first was
Twice. Okay.
It was a weekender in Baltimore and Winchester, Virginia. And the second time was with our best friends in Voluntary Mortification. It was like a 4-day Midwest run.
Okay,
Nice.
that's awesome. Christ core throughout the Midwest. That's awesome. And now, I mean, I'm assuming you're planning on sticking around, moving forward with these guys.
I don't see myself leaving, for all I know.
No, that's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. And one thing I found interesting, with, and I know you weren't around for like this era of DTD. It sounds like there were a little bit of like a member filter in the earlier days. I watched there's a history video about
Courtesy of Heavy Jesus
DTD
Music.
by
Yeah, she's kind of cool.
Thank you. That's the channel name. Yeah. And that helped me study up a little bit. Other than just being a fan who listens to the music consistently anyway. They started, I say they because you weren't with them at the time, as what was it, metalcore or post-hardcore?
Pop punk, emo,
and then
post-hardcore.
Okay. That's like the opposite of, what is it, Bring Me the Horizon started as a deathcore band and then they became like a metalcore. Yeah.
I like to say, I don't want to sound arrogant or larger than life. I like to say that we are the Christian metal version of Pantera, because they started out, their first 3 albums were glam metal. Their 4th album was a turning point, and by their 5th album, Cowboys from Hell, they're like, hey, we're not doing that old sound anymore. We're doing groove and thrash metal now. So what they did was for the first 2 albums, they did pop punk, post-hardcore, emo. By the 3rd album, they kept that sound, but like added some like from what I understand, hard rock in it. And then by album number 4, after 2 members left, it was just the Hogue brothers. They said, all right, we're going to play metalcore. So that record was kind of like a turning point. And by the 5th album, Amidst, that's when the band were like, all right, we're a deathcore, death metal, metalcore band, but we're like a lighter Shadow of Intent. So yeah, we get heavier and heavier each release, like Pantera. And we're not going back to that old sound. At least that's what Barry said. And that's,
well,
okay.
That's
good.
I gotcha. Well, no, we love it. We love it. We like this sound.
I was gonna say, huge fan of that.
No offense to the OG days, but like I said, we have lots of Christian metalcore, so we love any chance we get to get more faith-paced deathcore. Specifically, what was it in our interview with King of Waste? We said low and slow, baby, for the Lord. Low and slow for the Lord.
Are we talking
Low.
like the Acacia Strain Tactical Nuke, or like straight doom metal, like doomcore?
Give me it all, man. Give me the whole thing. Do you have a okay? I feel like metalcore, just in terms of whether it's secular or faith-based, metalcore, it's like all the fans get along really easy. It's like very preferences don't vary very much. I follow a few deathcore pages on Facebook. I feel like as soon as you change to that genre, the fan base is like completely separate and they all they despise each other. I don't know if anyone else gets that. I know it's a little off topic, but like they cannot stand each other even though they love the exact same genre of music. It's kind of silly to me.
There has to be like a middle ground, and I guess there's sort of a fluid. Unfortunately, there's this fluid definition of what metalcore is. To me, it's either thrash metal or melodic death metal. One of those two mixed with hardcore punk. Boom, metalcore.
Okay. Just like I think it's the on the two sides of the line for deathcore fans specifically. It's Psycho Frame fans and Lorna Shore fans. These are the secular bands, and it's like
now I get it.
And they hate each other. The blackened death metal and the MySpace deathcore fans. It's 40-year-olds and 20-year-olds, and they're at war with each other for some reason, and I don't know why.
Clash of generations.
I'm just kidding. I love MySpace deathcore. I'm not saying
I like my fair share of both.
I'm not actually hating on people.
And we're trying to keep that. We're trying to keep that balance. I mean, the first deathcore song that the band ever wrote before I was involved was a Demon Slayer. But I can't really say whether it's MySpace enough to hit that criteria.
The vocals are definitely like more. You have like an encyclopedia of knowledge on the terms. I have so much trouble remembering all the different terms. I'm sorry.
I love my metal.
But I'm sorry.
I love my metal.
I've noticed.
Way.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed.
Really? No.
Yeah.
You don't.
I feel like that's the thing with metalheads.
Nick Cage, you don't say.
No, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, no. We love the Diamonds to Dust sound. If you had to put the current let's say the album for the sake of convenience, we'll say the album coming out, or if you don't want to spoil anything, I will also say the EP. What subgenre would you say that is? Because that's something I have trouble diagnosing what subgenre.
Wait, which EP? Faith or Desire or Decisions?
The Temporary Affliction, the recent one that's kind of leading into the upcoming album.
Where I would put that in there?
What subgenre of deathcore would you put the more recent music in?
I'm gonna have to say symphonic.
Symphonic deathcore?
Symphonic deathcore, symphonic metalcore.
We like that. I ask because I literally could listen to like country music and I would still be like, what is this, pop? Is this jazz?
Oh, like bro country.
That helps me. Yeah. It happened again. I lost my train of thought. I had like the most perfect question lined up to follow that up with, and it escaped me again. I'm
something
so
about
sorry
root beer, right?
So many brain farts today.
Well, give it a full start, Brandon.
Oh, here it is. No, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. What are your specifically you, not Diamonds to Dust. This is Ryan talking as Ryan, not Ryan talking as Diamonds to Dust. What are your biggest influences? They can be any band, doesn't just have to be Christian bands. What are your biggest influences for what you do?
I want to say everybody, but I'm really as a guitarist attached to Marshall Harrison. In my opinion, he's the greatest living guitarist out there. He invented this technique called swybrid, and in basic terms, it's the epitome of play smarter, not harder. I really like my fair share of super late 80s, very early 90s Christian glam metal. So I like Angelica. I just started to get into White Cross seriously, even though my mom kept suggesting them for years. They're like the Christian Rat. As a guitarist, I also like Brandon Ellis. He recently played for the Black Dahlia Murder, and now he's a touring member for Cannibal Corpse. I think he has the best in the vibrato game. I like my fair share of house music. I like Deadmau5, but man, I'm slowly cutting away like little by little secular music. But again, like I said, I love power metal, so I'm gonna have to go with Theocracy.
That's a legendary one.
But man, that's a good one.
It turns out band members. This is a question I typically ask. It turns out I would say I've asked that question maybe 4 or 5 times. It turns out members of bands are interested in music, are interested in. Sorry, I just blew your mind, Mike. They're interested in music. So no, you're totally fine. That's the more influences you have, the more original your sound will end up being. So I think that's a great thing. You're taking bits and pieces from other places you've heard.
I'm guilty as charged. Like for the solo for Deny Thyself, I had to take like, all right, how am I going to make a good, tasty solo? Okay, I'm just going to take, here's Marty Friedman. Here's this guy who's pretty good, who I met at Guitar Center. Here's I already said Marty Friedman. Sims Cation, he was like one of the biggest Instagram guitarists last decade. I think he was on he did a feature on a Carnifex album. So when I say everybody, like I got to throw everybody in there.
No, we like that. We like that. It's like I said, it's just it makes you more original because you're not copying from one person. You're copying or not copying, but you're taking inspiration from loads of people, and that makes an original sound.
I was on a 2 months ago. I was on a Huey Lewis and the News kick, so that's all I listened to for like a couple days straight. I'm like, hey, Chris Hayes, the guitar player, he's really good.
Here's what I am gonna say. Out of everyone we've talked to, when we talk to folks from, maybe it's just because we are usually talking to vocalists, but usually if we ask that question, bands in the same subgenre as that person's music. Like we were talking to the guys in Unworthy a few weeks ago, and they pretty much only brought up deathcore and death metal bands that they were inspired by. So I'm really interested. Is it just an excuse like how bastardized the question I'm about to ask is, but is it a guitar thing that it doesn't matter exactly what genre it is, but it can still inspire you for even a deathcore track?
If you're gonna write deathcore, do not listen to deathcore. Listen to death metal and just take metalcore breakdowns on it.
Okay, we like that.
I'm taking notes on this. I'm gonna remember.
We like that. This is apparently this is controversial. I feel like most people can get behind what I'm about to say, but apparently this is controversial. I do think cleans fit in deathcore songs. It has to be written well. It has to be done well. But I think cleans can fit.
Thing?
That cleans can be in deathcore songs. Yes, apparently people only need unclean vocals. Do you have a take on this, Ryan?
Barry agrees, even though in my opinion it is unconventional. But if the kings of deathcore being
Mhm.
Whitechapel could do it, then your point stands.
Yeah, it's not that it always works. Like obviously, if you're doing a metalcore song, it's a lot easier to have a poppy, catchy chorus with
Of course.
cleans. But there are, especially on, because deathcore is one of the genres where I do break out into some secular bands. Obviously, if I feel personally, if I feel this isn't really controversial, but I'm still gonna explain myself because I know there are folks out there who don't like that. If there are lyrics I feel like I can't stand by, I won't listen. I still won't. I'll be careful with who I listen to. But I break out, and I don't hear many clean vocals um on secular deathcore bands. I know what is it? Paleface Swiss has some. I love Dark Bloom by Brand of Sacrifice and We Came as Romans. Completely off topic, but cleans or at least cleaner vocals can fit. But specifically you guys and uh tracks from Diamonds to Dust convinced me that it works because, and maybe it's a symphonic death metal thing, but cleans work in deathcore if you do it right. Not always, it's a lot harder to do, but it does work, and I will die on that hill.
It sounds about right. I'm glad we could add on to the we can debunk the antithesis that deathcore should not have clean vocals, even though I kind of lean on that fence. But we like to say we're a lighter Shadow of Intent. Like if Shadow of Intent didn't go full on melodic death metal or symphonic deathcore and had somewhat of a metalcore edge to it.
Okay. So what did you think of the Shadow of Intent album that dropped this year?
I liked it. I didn't have any complaints about it.
Mhm.
I mean, I listened to it on the way from a family vacation. Yeah. But I think the ones that I liked the most, what was it? Elegy was the last one. I think in terms of writing for DTT, I think it was Melancholy that was the most influential.
From Shadow of Intent. I was just curious. That was just completely out of curiosity, but there actually was a question from that something you said earlier that I actually do want to bring up again. You said that if you want to make deathcore, don't listen to deathcore. Would you say that applies to mainly you guys, or do you think that it blanket fits the majority of people who are making that kind of music?
I feel like that rule should apply to anybody, but of course there should be a select few of groups that you can listen to for influence that maybe you want to throw into your sound. So I guess not completely distance yourself from the deathcore herd, because at some to an extent you want to follow the trends, but you want to throw in your own blend of it, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, that does make sense.
No,
yeah. So, what specifically makes you say that that? And I'm not asking this because I disagree. I kind of want to pick your brain about that because it's a very interesting. It's a very bold thing to say. I feel like, and I don't disagree. That's why I'm asking. But do you feel like do you have an example of what deathcore inspired by deathcore sounds like?
Throw anybody under the bus here. Oh man.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. I don't want to start any shade. I don't want to make you throw shade.
I mean, if we go into the MySpace days, definitely the first Carnifex album, that was death metal influence. Whitechapel's first 2 or 3 records, definitely death metal influenced. You hear more of the death metal aspect than you do the metalcore. Where I feel like nowadays it's the other way around, even though there's still blast beats involved.
Right.
Sure. And you think the core is in metalcore part of the death metal or the deathcore? So many subgenres. Hold on.
Yes.
You think that's more important?
Well, I feel like now it's a little bit more prevalent.
Okay. I think that's fair to. I think that's definitely fair to say. I like that. It makes sense because deathcore is a genre made up of other genres. It's not like its own. So it makes sense to be that you to be inspired for it. You would listen to other genres. I like that. I like that. Sorry, it's just, I wanted to pick your brain about that because I never would have thought that, especially since I've asked people like what inspired you, and they still now again it's usually vocalists who say that they're inspired by other deathcore bands. I feel like deathcore vocals are kind of specific to the genre, but for instrumentals, that's interesting.
I would like to see more deathcore style vocals in death metal,
like in regular
death metal. That would be cool to see deathcore style vocals in death metal.
So when you say, and this is just for my curiosity, when you say deathcore style vocals, do you say, and I don't want to throw shade, but I mean it's not shade. This is just clarity. When you say deathcore style vocals, do you say like Lorna Shore, like let's do the tunnel,
yeah,
you put the tongue,
yeah,
okay, because some people it's like MySpace where it's just deep screams and no specific messing with your mouth and tongue placement. And then Lorna Shore is like all technique.
Of course.
So you want to see more of that in death metal specifically.
I could be wrong, but I think the only band that's doing that, even though they're grindcore, Cattle Decapitation, because I know Travis Ryan is the one who did it first.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you have specific? I know you already said what bands inspire your sound in general. Do you have, and this is for people out there who want more heavy Christian music to listen to, do you have specific, because you said you like black and death metal, right? Those are your personal favorites. Do you have faith-based versions of those that you
Shadows
enjoy?
of Paragon, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good Christian black metal. I'm sure we've all heard of Crimson Moonlight.
I like to give people alternatives because this is a thought I actually had earlier today. A lot of people love accounts like Kingdom Core and stuff because they give them Christian alternatives to the music that they listened to when they weren't a Christian. So there are a lot of metalheads out there who become Christian, praise be, and then they want like a faith-based alternative. I kind of did the opposite. I didn't like leave the faith. I just mean that I was a Christian my whole life, thanks to my lovely parents. But I wasn't a metalhead until only a few years ago. So I did the other way around, where I learned about metal-dom. I was a Christian already and learned about metal-dom, and I needed tons of bands. But that makes, so, I did tons of research to find all these bands. So I love sharing what I find, like, oh, these are good deathcore bands, these are good metalcore bands. But I actually don't listen to as much black metal and stuff like that. So it's good to know for people out there. I've had people asking me specifically to do like top 5 black metal, Christian black metal bands. I think well, would you say that that's a genre that has a decent amount of bands in it for faith-based alternatives?
Yes, but I'd like to see more. Same with thrash.
That's fair. That's totally
same with death. Same with folk.
Okay. I mean, black metal was kind of founded on the opposite of what unblack metal. I think that's the specific term for Christian black metal. It's kind of found on the exact opposite, because some forms of metal, they don't have any morals tied to them. Like, it's just a sound. But black metal is like specifically like, let's be satanic. So I particularly like to see unblack metals come out, because they're like, no, it's not. It's a sound still, but we get to put whatever lyrics we want under it. So I'm happy to see people like taking
what the enemy meant for evil and turning it for good.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it. Thank you. Yeah, no, I love to see that. I love to see that sort of thing.
Agreed. I think personally we need more what is it, gore grind or grindcore band?
Gray area.
You want more vomitorial corpulence.
Yeah.
Have you heard of vomitorial corpulence, Ryan?
I think the Christian metal promotion on Instagram, I might have seen a few of their album covers out there.
Okay.
It's nuts.
That was a rabbit hole we went down. Bit aside, I don't like the way they sound, but I'm just not a gore grind fan. But I made a video about vomitorial corpulence just to be clear. That's the context. They're a Christian gore grind band, I think, from the late 90s, early 2000s. And I like them a lot because they'll have, oh my gosh, let me pull up a song title just really quick. But long story short, I made that video because I'm like, how interesting. It's such a niche genre of metal that's all about being violent, and there's still faith-based alternatives that you can find in this genre. And someone commented and said, hey, I'm a gore grind fan and this sucks. I thought that was kind of mean.
It's just a very very niche taste, I think. But I find it cool that you have all these different like genres and different places, and you can still find like there's a God-fearing influence there somewhere. Like how you were saying with the black metal, it's like this was originally designed to be like a type of hail Satan type of deal, and then we got some people who are like, all right, what if we were like praise God instead? I think that's really cool that there's so much variety, and not all of which was founded off of something I don't know if like wholesome is the right word or genuine. And then we still have that Christ-centered influence there. I think that's awesome.
For sure.
I agree with that. Sorry, we know this is off topic. No, we know this is off topic. We want to talk more about DTD, but this is something that we lose our mind over. This is like an inside joke that we have. Like we'll just be talking and we'll be like, and we'll be listening to some like rock or something, like Red or a softer Demon Hunter song, like I Am a Stone or something, and we'll be like, and we listen to music while we play video games, so we'll be doing that, playing a video game, blah, 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 and then we'll just be like, this is a little soft. We need something harder. Let's get vomitorial corp. That's just such a funny, it rolls right off the tongue. That name is hilarious. So here is a title. We can move on right after this. I'm so sorry, but this is a title I included in my video. It is gross. So warning to viewers, Ryan, it is gross. Do you care if you hear it? You're a death metal fan, but I still want to. Okay. I want to be considerate, but this is the title. Here we go. Festering insalubrious bowel hemorrhaging of gangrenous, pustulous, and abdominal abscess discharge of the intestinal tract.
I'm like memorizing that.
Oh my gosh. That is the name of one song, by the way. Those aren't lyrics. That is hilarious to me, though. We have at least one faith-based band in every subgenre, and while I complain on a regular basis that deathcore is a genre that I would love to see more bands take part in, like you guys, and we get super excited, we get super interested when you guys do it. I should probably stop complaining because gore grind fans haven't had a band since 2000. You know, that's absolutely heartbreaking. We don't have enough of that for them.
Yeah, sorry. This whole rabbit trail was spawned by my yapping, but
no, but we love we love vomitorial corpulence. But here's a segue question back to get us a little bit more back on track. We were talking about death metal a second ago. How do you feel about and if this is a controversial question, I can cut this out. But if you're totally cool answering this, then go right ahead. How do you feel about Living Sacrifice? Have you heard of them?
They were on my work. They're still on my workflow playlist. Yeah.
Really? What? If you don't mind me asking, what songs?
I've got the entire Reborn record. I I forgot the name of the one, but it's the one that Kingdom Core did a 25th anniversary clothing line for.
The hammering
Yes.
process.
I have those two.
That's some of my favorite Christian death metal, and they inspired a lot of bands that we still listen to today. I was going through my playlist because I have that tab open. I saw it and it completely reminded me there's a good Christian death metal band. But no, as we get closer to the end of the podcast, thank you for chatting with us. It has been an absolute pleasure. I apologize if we went on long tangents about very, very obscure bands, but it's awesome to hear what inspires you and what that gives us a little bit of a taste of what's going to be on upcoming music for you guys.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks so much for having me on.
I have a few more questions before we get going. The first question is that you can tell us what is next. Obviously, we have the album. We have, let me make sure I say this right. Yes, we have Echoes of Grace and Strife, Diamonds to Dust on, where's the date? I thought I just pulled it up. December 19th, Friday, thank you. Friday, December 19th. Go listen to it. I know you will because you're a Christ-pilled deathcore fan.
It'll be a very Merry Christmas this year with that coming out.
Yes. But other than the album, is there anything coming up for you guys that you would love to talk about?
We're going to hit the road again and just keep putting out music like hotcakes. That is the goal.
Yes! That's what we want. Slow and low, right? Or fast and low as well, because it's symphonic deathcore.
Good mix, good balance.
That's what we want. And I guess my last, we can do the closing question, which is, would you feel comfortable, there we go, flashbanging myself again. Would you feel comfortable praying for us in closing of today's episode, Ryan?
Not a problem. I will do my best here. Father God, in the name of Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah, thank you for the time we had answering the questions regarding music that glorifies you and your kingdom, Lord. I lift up Brandon and Michael before you, Jesus, and that you will just continue to use them and Screamers for Scripture to open people to the ears of and the hearts of my peers in the kingdom metal scene, and that they their lyrics will just pierce their hearts and give them a sense of conviction that they will eventually turn to you and gain a heart of repentance and redemption. I pray all these things, and I pray that you will just guide us through the rest of this year, Lord, through the record release, throughout the videos. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us today. And wonderful. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us today. And for that absolutely wonderful prayer that we ended the episode on. It was an absolute blast. You listened to us rant about bands that have been broken up for over 20 years. And he had this encyclopedic knowledge of subgenres, and that was super fun to ask and talk about. And of course, we get to hear about the legendary Diamonds to Dust album that's coming out.
Super excited.
That is going to be legendary. Earlier this year, we spoke to King of Waste, and I said that deathcore is a genre that does not get fed enough. I know I said it in this episode.
True.
I probably say it every time we interview a deathcore band.
And it's true every single time.
It's true, but I think the tide is starting to turn, wouldn't you say, Mike?
I would agree with that. I would agree. We're starting to see a rise in popularity, which I myself am a huge fan of. super excited to see it. And I'm super excited to see what the future holds for bands like Diamonds to Dust with their new album coming up soon. I'm going to be watching I will watch your career with great interest. I'm super excited.
Exactly. We're getting more of that, more and more of these awesome releases. And not only do we see new bands sprouting up, but we're seeing old bands improve and get better as time goes on. Same with Diamonds to Dust, as Ryan was saying. They started more metalcore, and they weren't bad by any means, but they definitely struck out with Corpus Christi, and then moving on to their deathcore blossom. And it's awesome to get to chat with these people as they skyrocket into the absolute righteous anger that comes out of this genre.
Absolutely. It's like watching the Mona Lisa get painted in a way.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. That is something I'll say. That'll be on the thumbnail for this video. Watching Diamonds
Mona
to
Lisa?
Dust- I meant the quote.
Oh, okay.
Diamonds to Dust album is like watching the Mona Lisa get painted. That actually sounds like a negative review now that I say it out loud. But the album isn't out yet. That being said, I think we can say with a pretty high degree of certainty that it's going to be amazing. And if you're anybody who's anybody, you will give it a listen. Remember, folks, God made you special.
And he loves you very much.
Bye-bye.